Hi, I'm the Moorlander and this is Moorlander EDC. Now a few months back the awesome team at NexTorch got in touch and asked if I'd like to have a look at their new light, which is the P86. So this does something that most, in fact if not all other flashlights don't do, and I'm actually surprised that nobody's thought to do this. It makes sense. It has some shortcomings in the fact that sometimes you'll press the button when you forget which button to press. I mean, it's a strange shortcoming, but it's something that always wakes you up when you press the button by accident. So this is what you would class, and you'd look at this and you'd think this is a normal flashlight. In fact, size-wise, actually, size-wise, it is a little bit bigger. So I bought a couple of other flashlights. So here's the P86. Then from Nightcore, we've got the P21, this P23. You can see that the 86 is probably a good maybe 15 millimeters longer. Also have here from Olight, we have the Warrior Mini 2, which again, so you can see there's a good 4 or 5 centimeters longer than that. The main reason for this is this module here that wraps around just underneath where the LED unit is, and this is what produces a 120 decibel whistle. Now at this point I just need to stress, because we'll go through some measures and things that you can do possibly for defense, and this is really what this is to be used for. Either one, to disorientate or hurt the ears of somebody that is trying to potentially attack you, but also so that you can use this whistle so that you can be found, or at least you can bring attention to yourself if you're in an area where maybe you would need some support from a friendly bystander, a nice Samaritan that happens to be walking past, that will hopefully hear this and again maybe come to your aid. But I do just have to stress that unfortunately here in the UK, carrying a light purposely for self-defense is illegal, and it's actually classed as a offensive weapon. However, that does not make this illegal. It's perfectly legal to own if for the sole purpose that you use this for is a light that you can, see in the dark. If you happen to be attacked and use this in defense, then that's perfectly legal. You just can't carry. It's a stupid law. It's very stupid. I carry this to see in the dark, and I used it as a defensive weapon. Is perfectly fine. Carrying this for the sole purpose of defense isn't. Anyway, so actually I have a link here. I'll leave a link here about what you can carry and what you can't carry. So, but yes, not legal, but I do have to state, if you're asked, you do not say that you carry this for self-defense. You carry this so that you can see in the dark. Right, so that was that little kind of disclaimer out of the way. Still perfectly legal to own. Actually, let's take a step back. So as far as weight, this is a little bit weightier than some others. It is powered on the inside, and I've purposely gone to that next because on the inside there is an 18650 battery in there. Look how thick that tube is. She's thick. That's what some of the extra weight behind this is specifically. So if you should need to use this in said manner, that it does just give a little bit more inertia, a little bit more weight behind it. The battery is powered internally by a USB Type-C charger here. You unscrew the head and that will allow you to charge it. On the inside there is a single LED with quite a deep orange peel reflector in there, mainly so that you can channel as much light forward as possible, but it also does spread it just that extra little bit so that if you want to get it into somebody's face, it is a little bit easier to kind of hit that target, let's say. But on the outside as well, you also have these ceramic points on here, again, so should this need to be poked in somebody's face, it will do whatever you need it to do, but also for security reasons, just in case somebody's in a car, maybe something, or you need to be able to get through some glass, then you can use this to help to break some glass as well. Now it's operated by two buttons. Just to the right of the buttons, or I suppose to the left, whichever way you're looking at it, there are some indicators on here. When you turn this on, it does show how much battery you have left, and it's operated by these two buttons. I'm not going to press this one because I keep pressing it and I keep deafening myself by accident. To operate the actual light itself, it's the first button that your thumb comes to. That's the easiest way to remember it. The first button that your thumb comes to, when you shine this at somebody, you can hold it down and that will give it the blast of its full 1,600 lumens of light in the direction of whoever you need to. When you take your thumb off it, that's when it goes back into its, let's call these the normal light modes, but it will always give you instant access to its turbo. The light modes are cycled through here with a half press, so that you can go through low, high, medium. There's quite a lot of light that you can produce from this as well, but the main one on here is this button. So the second button that your thumb will come to will produce a whistle that is 120 decibels. I'm just going to do it quickly. And yes, it is incredibly loud. It's a very shrill, it's not nice, but purposely designed so it's not nice, and people will hopefully hear this. The way in which these are orientated as well is made so a lot of kind of your tactical lights you hold like this. But if you're holding it like this and that goes off close to your ear, it's not going to be nice. So I do like the way that they've orientated the buttons on this, mainly so that it can be held at arm's length and you can point it at the person. That also gives you just that extra little bit more of a distance. I'm not a trained kind of defensualist. Anyway, but keeping distance from said assailant is pretty important. So if you can hold your torch, hold the light out like this, then you've already given yourself arm's reach so that you can either pull back, or if needs be you can jab to the face. But also as well, then if you do need to step back, you can recoil it and then use it to help yourself get out of the situation. If you are at a point where you need to call for help, then you can press the button. But also if you're tussling with somebody, and you can press that button as well with you tussling, maybe holding that and having this so close to somebody's ear. If that went off close to my ear, it would hurt. I think it's very good for that. It's definitely something that's different, but let's take a quick look at how this performs in the dark. Well, the sun is definitely down, and let's go through how this looks in the dark. Now what I thought I'd do is I'll go through the UI exactly how it works. So as I mentioned before, this gives you instant access to its turbo mode. I think I mentioned before it's turbo, it's actually high. There are three settings, which is low, medium and high, but you get instant access to high when you press down that button. So this is that kind of, dang it, I need to stop somebody from being able to see. Oh, there's a fox or something up there, I can see its eyes. So this is access, instant access to the full 1,600 lumens, and this is the high mode. Now if I take my finger, so as it stands, my finger is still on the actual button itself. If I remove it, what it does then is, because probably everybody doesn't really want it to come on all the time onto high mode, if you are using this as more of an EDC flashlight, when you take your finger off it, it then always comes on onto the medium mode. So just putting this over my head here, just so that we can get a nice bit of a flood like this. So the medium mode on this is 240 lumens. Okay, so I am stood where I usually am, so we can see the other side of the fishing pond. We can see the little island in the middle. We can see the tree here that we usually give just for kind of reference. That's about 10 meters away, and then we've got another tree there which is about 20 meters away, and there we can see the ornamental waterfall over there. So I think for an EDC use, 240 40 lumens for medium mode like this is great. Now when you cycle through these, so as I mentioned, so let's do this as though it's actual an EDC use. So I want to turn it on, I press the button, it does give that instant blast, which is your high mode, 1600 lumens, but now we're on the medium mode. If I do another half press, this then takes us down to the low mode. So low mode on this, again just holding it up like this so we can get as much flood as possible, but low mode on this is 25 lumens, which is great. You know, whilst I'm walking out like this, I can easily see 10-15 meters in front, being able to look down on here. So as I mentioned, so this uses an orange peel reflector on here, so the warm spot don't get as defined warm spot with this, but when I put it onto the water here, you can see this. Now if I then do another half press, this will then take me back up to the high mode, which is the 1600 lumens. So again, looking at the warm spot, or quite a diffused warm spot over there, I've got it out in front of me as I usually do, 45 degrees to the left and back again, 45 degrees to the right and back again. In fact, if I move this out here, you can see that there is, or at least the skirt on there, it's a reasonably defined skirt, but yet again, as mentioned, you know, with this is using the orange peel reflector in there, which does help to diffuse a lot of that light, but using quite a deep reflector also allows it to make sure that it pushes forward quite a bit. So there's that tree again, which I said is about 20 meters away. I can now see the ornamental waterfall here more, and even more so I can now see the little fishing lake that I have just at the top there. So yeah, really nice light. Well, as I say, so it's just a little bit different, as I mentioned. So when it's off, you can get instant access. Oh God, leaf's just blown in my mouth. How weird was that? Never had that happen before. So yeah, so while it's off, you get that instant access if you need to have your instant access to the high mode or turbo mode. But when you take your thumb off it, it then drops it down to medium, long press, low, half press low, half press high. The P86 is definitely different to a lot of lights out there. If you're a person that's maybe concerned about walking at night, yes, you have the ability so that you can be able to see with this, which should be the main purpose of this, not as an offensive weapon. But you know, you can walk around, you can see, so it's great for walking the dogs. Actually, one other thing, maybe would that be useful? So anybody that's maybe living in a country where you have concerns about wild animals, if you're walking at night with this, and a bear, maybe a bear's a bad example, but if you set that off and the bear was like, geez, and then ran off, but I guess that might be another reason that you could use this. But the main reason for this predominantly is to see in the dark. But if you're ever in a situation where you need to be able to defend yourself, being able to have instant access to 1600 lumens worth of light into somebody's eyes will give you that moment to either one, fight or flight, and hopefully be able to rescue yourself from said situation. But also with that 120 decibels whistle, you'll either be able to disorientate again with the sonic nastiness that comes out of this, but also again, if needs be, you need to be able to alert other people to your presence, then yeah, it's a great torch for that. So I'd like to say a huge thank you to NexTorch for sending this to me. I'll leave some links below so that you can see more from NexTorch, and also some of my social media links here on Moorlander EDC and my sister channel Moorlander Tactical. But for now, as always, stay safe, stay Moorlander, and stay EDC. This thing's so loud. I nearly deafened myself twice with it this morning, pressing the button by accident. Ridiculously loud. Hi, I'm the Moorlander and this is Moorlander EDC. Now, NexTorch got in touch with me a few months back and asked if I'd like to have a look at their new flashlight, the P86. Now this does something that a lot of other flashlights don't, and I find it strange, maybe not strange, but start that again.